So today, Nigel Farage was asked by a reporter, how are you going to stop the boats? This is what he said.
What would you do instead if you were empowered to get the backlog down and to stop those crossings from happening?
Why do people come? They come because they know they have an over 99% chance of staying. They come because they know they will be looked after, 3 square meals a day, free dental care, free health care, 49 quid a week pocket money, and while they're at it, probably work illegally, either in delivery services or drugs or whatever it may be. There is only one way you're going to stop this. There is only one way you're going to stop this, that the ECHR, whatever its good intentions in the post-war world were, is no longer fit for purpose in any way at all, and we will be free to detain those. And by the way, all around the world, if you enter a country illegally, you will be detained and deported. This is what normal countries do all over the world. We've surrendered normality to this new human rights regime. So if you come to Britain via that route, you will never be given refugee status. You will never be given permanent leave to remain. You will not be free to walk the streets, as so many have done that have committed some of these vile crimes, and you will be deported. And that's the message, plain and simple. And you know what? Within 2 weeks, you won't see a single migrant boat. They won't come.
Now, this is the thing, you know, there's nothing really extreme about what he's talking about there. This is what most countries do. And as we know, in a first past the post system, voting system that we have in this country, if you want to win an election, you need to get the centre ground, the average Joes, your floating voters, just, you know, your folks that are not really engaged with day-to-day politics every single day. You need to grasp these people, you need to get them to vote for you. And like I say, everything that he said there, you know, it's just control your borders, find out who's coming in, stop incentives for people to cross the channel. You know, they're coming from a safe country in France, you know, but all these incentives are making them come over. It all sounds quite reasonable to your average Joe, to your floating voter. It's nothing out of the ordinary. And most people watching that will think, oh, well, that sounds like a perfectly reasonable way to stop the boats. Let's vote for reform. Let's vote for reform. Let's give them a go. But of course, what your news outlets like ITV News never actually seem to do, and whenever someone gets Nigel Farage on, whether it's BBC, ITV, they never grill him on his economic policy. It's always about immigration, and this is what they want you focused on. They want you focused on immigration because they don't want you focusing on their economic policy, which is what really scares the crap out of me, which is far right. Now, Nigel Farage gets called far right quite a lot because of immigration, and you can have that conversation whether that's right or wrong. But there is no debate that his economic policy is far right. Same as I don't want far left economics in this country. I don't want communism, and I don't want far right economics, which is basically pure, unregulated free market capitalism, which is exactly what they want. And again, this is just, it's not opinion. This is all in their last manifesto. They want massive tax cuts for the rich, billions of pounds worth of tax cuts for the rich. And the way they're going to pay for that is further slashing of public spending, further slashing of public services, further slashing of the NHS budget, further slashing of council funding. Our councils that are already desperately struggling to actually put on the services that we need as is, they're going to get further cuts to their funding. Further cuts to education. Do you remember last year with RAC? I mean, our public schools are literally crumbling. They're crumbling, and they will cut spending for education even further. I've done a podcast, I'll link it down below. I've done a podcast with a teacher, go check that out, a teacher in London that was telling me how desperate and how impossible the task is for our public schools to deal with the budgets that they're dealing with. And you want to cut that further? You know, if you've got an interest in your kids getting on in life, do you think the standard and the funding to our public schools needs to come down even more? You know, this is no exaggeration. They've got to make up for billions of pounds worth of tax cuts. They are going to slash public services intensely. Now, the argument is that, you know, if you cut tax, people have got more money in their pocket and they'll pump it back into the economy. Now, that might ring true if you're working class and you're middle class to a certain extent, but not where the true wealth is held. The true wealth is held with the 1%, with the millionaires and the billionaires. They're not pumping their money back into the economy. Their money is buying up assets, buying up property, and then renting it back to us at extortionate prices. It's going to the Cayman Islands. It's going into stocks and shares. It's going into buying up all the resources, buying the utilities, buying your water companies that are now charging us extortionate amounts of money for our water and then pumping sewage into our seas and rivers. This is where those tax cuts are going. More money for the multimillionaires, the billionaires, to buy up more assets, to buy up more of this country, to drain and siphon as much money as they can from the working class and the middle class. So if you like what Nigel Farage is saying about immigration and you think he can stop the boats and this is what you care about, just think about what will actually happen if Reform Party get into government. I think the largest demographic of Reform voters is on the elder side. Are you ready for an NHS that's controlled by Nigel Farage? He's made no secret in the past. I've pumped this video out in other videos, but I'm doing it again. I don't care.
And I think we're going to have to move to an insurance-based system of healthcare. Frankly, I would feel more comfortable that my money would return value if I was able to do that through the marketplace of an insurance company.
If you're coming up to pension age, are you ready for an insurance-based healthcare system? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for our towns and cities to have even higher population of homeless people because the councils have not got the funding to deal with it? Benefits will be slashed when people fall on hard times. There's no more safety nets to bring them up. When those rents get too high and unaffordable, they'll end up on the streets. You just have to look at the people that are in charge of reform. Richard Tice is a multi-millionaire property developer. Do you think he has an interest in rent caps? Do you think he has an interest in making rents more affordable for the working class? No, of course not. He has interest in the exact opposite. He has interest in buying up more property and renting it back to us at extortionate prices. Farage, city boy banker. These guys have no interest in helping the working class. You know, just look at who's funding these guys. If Reform Party were for the working people, for the poorest in society, why are multi-millionaires and billionaires siphoning money to them and funding them at such a large scale? Why constantly in Parliament are the Reform Party MPs voting down more workers' rights, more rights for workers? Why are they against unions? They don't want more power in workers' hands. They want more power in the rich and elites. And I'm sorry if I keep sounding like I'm repeating myself a little bit with these videos, but I just think it's really important to bang this drum, and I will keep doing it. I will keep doing it. Whereas you might be sympathetic with what they're saying on immigration and asylum seekers, truly understand what these guys are about. Now, that's the end of the video today. I'm going to give you a little fact about the location here in Brighton. A nice little fact for you to leave. We're in Whitehawk here, right at the top of Whitehawk, and this is pretty much where most of the drugs come into the city and then leave from these very towers right here. So yeah, a little bit of information for you. Till next time, take care.